Thank you for your facing death talk, Jane. Does anyone have a question?
I have a question, um, and I think that I can use the metaphor that Jane was using. Um, and I was thinking like you asked your question, what is this? Don't know, and you don't know, and then it said that then at some point you'll see clearly and you'll know what to do. But my question is, so we see the elephant or we feel the elephant and we decide instead of just staying in one spot and feeling it, we're going to go around this whole thing. I've got all the pieces together now. I know it's an elephant. And so I know what to do now. It's an elephant. And my question is, you still don't know. I mean, you can't possibly ever know, because once you do say, well, I see it clearly, it's an elephant, then you've lost it. You don't know. So I guess I don't understand the that when it said, you open yourself up and it's don't know, and then you're going to see clearly and you'll know what to do. The best you can do is do what you think is right, but always knowing that you don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, I guess. So, any does my question make sense? I hope so.
Uh,
If not, I
I
can try.
think I see what you're getting at. Uh, so we always keep this great don't know mind. And another way of expressing that, looking at this world moment to moment, that every moment is absolutely amazing and beyond comprehension. I remember a line from um, the movie Joe and the Volcano with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. And Meg Ryan's conniving father um, would say that she would recall this actually. I think she recalls it when they're about to jump into the volcano, where she says, "We don't know anything. Let's jump." Yeah, this complete don't know. Let's jump. But her father would say, anyone who is not absolutely amazed at every moment of existence must be completely insane. So we look at this world with a great sense of wonder. What is this? And then we act in the way that seems best to us in any particular circumstance. And we still make mistakes. I'd hate to have to count up all my mistakes. Maybe they've become less frequent since I began practicing. I certainly hope so. So every moment of awareness is an opportunity to experience this sense of mystery of what this world is. Don't know. That's the best approach. Think of what the opposite is. Barging in, I know what to do. We've all met people like that. My God. Yeah, so your sense of not being sure and how does this work, that's just fine. That's keeping your mind as open and clear as you can in any circumstance. And practice really helps with that. So when we practice, we have, for instance, just now have had a half hour of trying to keep our minds just open and clear. So a half hour is made up of a number of seconds. And ancient Buddhist philosophy, um, a moment of awareness was calculated to be about 1/60th of a second. I'm not sure how scholars have reconstructed that, but that's the common understanding. And I think that maybe Don knows what contemporary neurologists think is a moment of awareness, but I've read anyway that it's 1/100th of a second. So think how many thought moments that would be. How many moments of, what is this? So we have not an infinite number of possibilities there, to experience this, don't know. But we have probably more than enough for it to sink in after a while, anyway. That's how this world is. We really don't know. So thank you for your question. Anything else?
I have a question.
Okay.
You had aggressive mantle cell lymphoma. You had a bone marrow transplant. You had chemo. Can you say anything about that?
Um, yeah, so this began maybe 4 years ago when I was diagnosed. I think we had to reconstruct that for some questionnaire recently. um, and oh yeah, I remember when we first got the diagnosis, sitting in the oncologist's office. And she knew it was some kind of lymphoma. And she said, I'll be back shortly and tell you what kind. And she came back in and said, I'm sorry, it's a bad kind. It's mantle cell lymphoma. And she was very forthright. The mortality here is, a real possibility, death. Um, and then she left to leave us alone for a while. And I'm sure you remember my looking at you saying, what? Did you expect me to live forever? Well, that was probably a moment of kind of false bravado or something. I don't know. But talking about this, I also saw a therapist in connection with this. Um, and it came out, I hadn't thought of it this way, but it came out while talking about it that I kind of approached the whole episode as an athletic event. So, I had done a number of marathons and things like that. I'm no great athlete, unlike Margaret, who's a much better runner than I ever was. But I tried, and I would compete in athletic events and long bicycle races and stuff like that. And I remember him saying, that's a really good attitude to have. And I did throughout think of it as not so much an ordeal as an event, an athletic event, and not one that I could train much for, but that I could just, stay in for the long haul and do the best I could. I remember finishing not in the top 100 in the Kansas City Marathon, for instance. That's okay. Uh, but simply to do your best moment to moment with all the energy that you have at your disposal. And not so much to have expectations, but to be optimistic anyway. Um, there were parts of it that I actually had a good time with. These strange treatments. I remember I had to chew ice for like an hour for some test. That was a mini event, right there, and all sorts of other things that you have to go through.
That was for your mustard gas chemo.
The mustard gas chemo, right? That was part of the chemo before the transplant. uh, so yeah, to keep a kind of a sense of humor about it all, and to be optimistic and to see your way through. And if death is the end, then to see what that's like. It's I imagine that is another great adventure. Of course, it might be something you don't experience at all. Boom, you're dead. But I think for most of us, it's there's some extent in time anyway. I don't know. That's about all I can say about it. Yeah, it wasn't so bad.
Could you say something about practice at that time?
Well, I certainly practiced at that time. Um, I think some of you have heard me talk about this. That Jose Ramirez, a teacher in our school, had a similar um, transplant. His was more serious, actually, a form of leukemia. He was in the hospital much longer. And somehow someone told him or gave him a statue of Junjie Bosal. Junjie Bosal is an instantiation of Kwanseum Bosal um, with 1,000 eyes and 1,000 hands. And he told me it was very helpful throughout, his ordeal, and it was really much more of an ordeal for him, I think, than for me. So I ordered from China a statue of Junjie Bosal. It came within a week or so. It was just amazing, it's about this big, and all of the hands and arms, and there's implements in each arm, and it's very compelling. You look at it, you want to keep looking at it. So I chanted Junjie Bosal, actually a number of mantras that have to do with Junjie Bosal, and they're in the Thousand Eyes and Hand Sutra. So we chant that. It's about a page in the Thousand Eyes and Hand Sutra. And I just made that my practice. And I did that almost nonstop, I would say. And especially looking at this statue of Junjie Bosal, which was there in the hospital room. We brought it with us when, in there for 2 weeks for the procedure. It seemed to help to have a special practice for, this occasion. But I think any practice, would have done. But it's something to maybe keep in mind when things are going really hard. Then maybe some special practice is called for. It doesn't have to be, certainly doesn't have to be what I did. But if ever you are in a situation like that, and you want maybe some counseling on it or guidance, what kind of practice can I do? I'm going through this. Then any of us teachers here would be glad to talk to you about it. So yeah, practice can see you through just about anything. And I'm sorry you had to remind me that, I also practiced during this time. I don't know, it was so much part of the stream of my life that, I don't know, I didn't think of it as, it was a special practice, but it was just a continuation of what I'd been doing for the last 40 years. So thank you all, for your presence here. I noticed that looking at everyone during practice today, that everyone had really strong, consistent posture and not much moving around or eye movement or anything like that. It's hard to keep that on Zoom. And I was going to give a little talk on keeping a strong practice and the fundamentals of practice with posture and breath and so forth, and just being determined to maintain that no matter what. But what I just said is all I will say about that. No matter where or when you're practicing, just 100%, just do it straight through. Usually it's only a half hour, It's not like it lasts for months. So we'll have some announcements and perhaps some socializing after that. Thank you very much.